Welcome to the Philadelphia Sports Table Podcast Show, the longest running weekly Philly sports podcast show in the world. Over 12 years strong. We got a great show for you this week. It is our Philadelphia 76ers season preview. We're also going to be diving into some Flyers talk as well, as their season has started. So far, 5 games in the Flyers season, and they're not looking bad. They're not looking terrible at all. But I'm Jeff Warren, here with my good buddy Eric Leonard, better known as Jack. My friend, how you doing? It was good seeing you this past weekend.
Yeah, that was fun, man. Yeah,
it was quite an evening.
Yeah, it always is when we all get together.
Yes. Well, we learned about the unfortunate passing of Limp Bizkit's bass player, and we had to pay some tribute to that band who we never really cared for too much, but we had to pay tribute because we're music guys, you know.
Yeah, and what did freak me out though is he was 48. I'm like, oh geez.
Yeah, I'm 48.
Yeah, I'm 49.
Yes.
Rest in peace. I don't remember your name, but it was the first time my son got to see Hunk in like full action.
Yes.
At an age like he, will remember and everything.
Yes.
So that was funny.
Yes, it was. Gosh, probably had nightmares that night.
He said he had a great time, so
glad he did.
Yeah.
Glad he did.
I told him a couple times, you're welcome to the group. You're in Hunk now. So
I was looking at my draft after we got done because, folks, that's why we were all out hanging out together, a group of friends, and Len was there. I couldn't believe Len was actually there. I didn't know he was going to be there, but we drafted our teams. I was like, oh boy, I don't know about my team. And I was just like, after the past couple nights, I'm like, you know what? All right, this might not be too bad because why? I picked VJ Edgecombe.
I know.
I picked him in like the 10th round or something.
Yeah, it was near the end. You son of a bitch. She had like 34 tonight. Yeah,
I'm happy with where I am right now. I'm playing your friend Renee, and he's gonna have a tough time the rest of the week going up against Senator Meatball over here.
Yeah, I mean you're up 5-4 right now.
Yep.
It looks like our buddy Jay's getting his ass handed to him.
Good.
As is Len. Len's getting destroyed by Dave.
Good.
So
good. But it was a great time. Great time hanging out.
How was the food?
I was going to be getting into the burgers because that was probably the most important part. Actually.
Yes.
Your burgers, I don't know how you do it constantly. Every year, fantastic. Folks, it was a blue cheese cheddar burger or something. It was incredible.
Blue cheese bacon burger.
Blue cheese bacon burger. I don't know why I was thinking cheddar. Probably because I had some yellow cheese on it. Anyway, it was fantastic. Cooked to perfection.
Yep.
Folks, you got to have one of Eric's burgers here. This blue cheese bacon burger was amazing.
Chopped onion, some fresh garlic. Yeah. A full pound of bacon. In the patties. I know.
It was so good.
My teriyaki chicken was off the hook.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I know what I'm doing out there.
You do.
Yeah.
You're a grill master. You really are.
I should get one of those bibs that says that now.
Yeah. Oh boy.
I know.
Gift. I was going to get you a Golden Girls t-shirt, but now I might get you that.
Oh, it'll finalize my transformation into a true middle-aged man.
There you go.
I get that. Yeah.
Yes. Well, hey folks, let's get into our Philadelphia 76ers season preview right off the bat here. Full disclosure, we saw the first game of the season tonight. It just happened to fall on the night that we were recording the season preview. Philadelphia 76ers beating the Boston Celtics by a score of 117 to 116. Quite frankly, I couldn't believe they went up to TD Bank Arena and just won this thing, not to mention VJ Edgecombe scoring 34 points. Franchise record right out of the gate. Tyrese Maxey with 40 points.
Yep.
Holy cow. These two guys were amazing to watch, but wanted to throw it out there. Yes, we usually do our season previews for our teams well before the season starts. Just worked out the way that it did this night. So where do you want to start, buddy? Really? I mean, I know, did you want to kind of recap this first game of the season here a little bit?
Yeah, I think some takeaways from the first, and again, it's one game, but just some things I noticed that are good and bad, and we can get into our preview from that, I would say. Because there's some things that happened tonight that are not going to happen all the time.
Right.
I'm like, things that jumped out. I'm like, oh no, we're in trouble in that department. With today's league, it's a heavy guard league. You saw the Pacers last year.
Yep.
They did with not, they had Miles Turner, but like essentially guard, kind of a guard led team. Jalen Brunson's one of the best players in the league. Like it's a very guard centric league, and to have two guys that are strong, fast, and play with a chip on their shoulder, athletic as hell, like that is key in the league now. And you saw it tonight, just 74 points between Maxey and Edgecombe. And it was just, and the way they attacked too, like,
yes,
it's the Celtics aren't strong defensively. They're not the strongest defensive team, but still, like I was so happy to see Edgecombe in the first quarter just go right at the rim. He went right at the Celtics center once or twice early on, and I was like, oh shit, okay, this guy's he's a rookie. He ain't playing around. And I'm in a text thread with a bunch of Sixers fans, and we were pointing out, like, people were saying, top ceiling for him would be like a Dwayne Wade.
Yeah,
Dwayne Wade's a all-timer, top whatever player ever. But this kid does play like him. And if you remember the first few years of Dwayne Wade, he was so fast and athletic and attacked the rim. That was his big thing. He attacked the rim. He became a better shooter later on, but Edgecombe plays just like him. I'm not saying he's going to be Dwayne Wade, but like, to even have that in your DNA a little bit at this age, I think he's 19, 20 years old.
Like 19, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think he was at the same age as Wade, but like he plays the game the right way too. And it sounds like an old man thing to say, but he does. Like, he knows where to be on the court. Defensively, he was awesome. He had 7 rebounds. He's a 6'5" guard, had 7 rebounds too. He's just extremely aggressive on the floor. He even had a great jump ball play where against Pritchard in the fourth quarter, where they had to get possession, and he went up there and tapped it to the correct corner to Kelly Oubre. And I was like, man, this kid already gets it. And that's like half the battle. I'm watching Cooper Flagg right now struggle mightily against the Spurs. Edgecombe looks like he's already like kind of can play at a high level in the NBA. I know it's his first game, but like just some of the intangibles that came through, through watching, I was like, okay, we made the right pick. Like this guy like is perfect for this team.
There was a natural flow of the game that he had.
Yeah.
Like that was very, very prevalent for me in the areas of the game that I saw. And I'm thinking to myself, my gosh, Eric, you bought an Edgecombe t-shirt. Thank goodness it wasn't a jersey.
I mean, as people know on the show, if I bought your jersey in the past, your career was cooked immediately.
Done.
Yeah. So I had to get an Edgecombe thing because I'm like, I think this kid's gonna be really good.
Yeah.
But I got like a long sleeve t-shirt with his name on the back, not the jersey.
Perfect.
So we're in good
keep
shape.
doing that. Yes, keep doing that. But really, again, the natural flow of the game and just how aggressive he was on the floor was so welcoming, because it really let's go back to Tyrese Maxey's first season. Certainly not the greatest season, but there were parts of VJ Edgecombe out on the floor that reminded me of Tyrese Maxey. He came into this league so aggressive, Tyrese Maxey, that I remember that first month of Maxey's season in the NBA with the Sixers, we were like, holy crap. Yeah. Like, man, his aggressiveness is amazing. And I don't know if it's some relationship that they have going on. I don't know if it's some sort of, mentor thing that's going to be happening between Edgecombe and Maxey. But listen to us. We're not even talking about Embiid here. You know what I mean? He's kind of like an afterthought. But it's like, he reminded me of an aggressive Tyrese Maxey, like right out of the gate. It was like so welcoming to see.
Yeah, and the thing with him is he's bigger and stronger than Maxey ever will be.
Yeah.
And he's a better athlete than Maxey is. And they actually ran a couple of pick and rolls between the two of them, top of the key. And I'm like, this actually works. If Edgecombe sets the screen, and he's rolling to the basket with that just 6'5" jacked build. Like, and Maxey's never going to play defense like Edgecombe either. Edgecombe defensively too was really, really damn good.
Yeah.
When he put him on Derek White was scoring points. When they put Edgecombe on him, he kind of shut him down a little bit. I'm just like, this is a great 2-man game here. Having said all that, I said 2-man.
Yes, exactly. So why don't we get into
our
really get into our Sixers season preview here? And I guess to start us off, what is the ceiling and the floor for this team? Best case scenario, worst case scenarios here. I mean, we've heard the analysis throughout the past few months and since the draft. Where is this Sixers team going to be? And honestly, I think it's not the easiest thing to analyze. And I know we may be talking about this right now after seeing this initial victory over the Boston Celtics, after seeing what Maxey and VJ Edgecombe did. But I do wonder if this is a team in the East, as far as their ceiling goes, Eric, and you may think I'm crazy, that might possibly be the 5th seed. And I'm wondering if that could potentially be the ceiling. That might be a tall task, but again, this first game of the season's really fresh in our minds right now. But fifth seed, I could potentially see it if things go the right way, if health remains, consistent throughout this season. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk. Let's go high ceiling, low floor. Let's just play around.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Seriously, I'm thinking like 5th seed is probably the highest that they could probably go.
I think 5th seed would be miraculous. With the way the roster is currently constructed.
Right.
Maxey and VJ can't play 42 minutes a game like they did tonight.
Right.
They're going to need a breather here and there. And
yes,
you couldn't take them off the floor. They're going to lose the game. That's how dire the rest of the team's performance, how pathetic it was. I'm looking at tonight's games and I'm just going through the teams in the East. I think you're right. I think a 5 seed would be like the super duper high ceiling. For this team. Because go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, I was going to say part of that too is other aspects of this team coming through. This isn't just that, like, I'm not getting to that number 5 potential seed as the ceiling just with Edgecombe and Maxey. I'm talking about, and yes, when I say Paul George, and we're certainly going to get to him in a little bit too, but he's got a career 38.3% shooting percentage from beyond the arc. And I think this year he can, if he can get that, keep that at like 40%, there's something to be said for that in terms of this team's positioning, in terms of the Eastern Conference. And I'm not just saying it's all Paul George. Part of this is going to be Embiid. Part of this is going to be Jared McCain too.
Yeah.
And I don't want to forget about these guys that we, that just haven't really seen here.
Yeah, they have pieces, and the high ceiling includes every piece you just talked about. Of course, Paul George opened the season wearing a sweatsuit on the bench.
A gray sweatsuit.
A gray sweatsuit. Whatever. And Embiid might as well have been in a gray sweatsuit. One of the things that jumped out tonight was just the lack of defense and just no rebounding at all. They got out rebounded by a Celtics team that has like one center maybe. Like a lot of it was effort rebounds. They just kind of got pushed around down low by it. With teams with like when they play the Bucks, who have Giannis and Miles Turner, who the hell's going to rebound that game?
Right.
Because it's not going to be Embiid. Like, Embiid played 20 minutes tonight. His shot looked bad. He was really, really slow. I know he's trying to play back into form, and I respect that he's actually playing. Like, I'll give him that. But like it was very clear. Nick Nurse in the second half was like, you just don't have it. And if I put you out there, we're going to lose the game. And not even just put him out there to he didn't even put him out there to get some rebounds. Like, that's how bad he looked tonight. And he might round into some better shape and be a contributor. Like you and I talked about a few weeks ago. Like, I'm hoping he steps into this new role where he can maybe average like 17 points, but like 10 rebounds, just park him down at the rim for rebounds and rim protection. If he can get to that point, you're starting to get closer to your high ceiling.
Yeah.
They need Paul George's defense when he comes back. That was one thing that was very clear. There were way too many drives right down a clean lane, no defense. Anthony Simons had a dunk. There wasn't anyone 10 feet near him. I saw that play and I'm like, okay, we need PG's defense. Like,
yeah,
if he can hit, if he can hit like consistently 40-41% from the 3-point line, you bring Jared McCain back from his injury, then you start to have a bench kind of round out. You know what I mean? Like, like to give Edgecombe and Maxey a break, you could actually run a lineup of, Paul George is out there, McCain over here.
yeah.
I'm blanking. Let me just grab some players here in the box score. So I'm just thinking like this. I already know what the starting lineup's going to be. It's going to be Edgecombe, Maxey, Embiid, and then Paul George and maybe Oubre, something like that, right?
Yep.
But we know when he comes back, like, Paul George can run the second unit as well and have shooting over here with McCain, Grimes over here. Maybe you give some play to Broom down low, defensively. Although he didn't even play tonight, their second round pick. I think their high ceiling is. I think that's a perfect pick is like the 5th seed. Now,
okay,
the bottom
could be the bottom.
Yeah, the bottom is maybe it's not the bottom, but I think the bottom is PG doesn't play at all, barely.
Yeah.
Embiid starts doing the load management stuff, and he's just fucking cooked.
Yeah.
And your centers Andre Drummond and Adam Boner, and like, and you're scoring some points, but like you're gonna maybe be in the lottery again,
right?
Like, because it's like,
and Jared McCain takes a step back, perhaps too, from where we expect, because I expect Jared McCain to. I'm saying this too. This is a bold prediction, to potentially lead the league in 3-point percentages. I think it's possible. I know. I think maybe that's just. I'm going to be very optimistic, by the way, on the season preview. I really am. And again, it might be because of what we just saw from them, but I think that's possible with Jared McCain. But if for some reason his 3-point percentage is somewhere around like 32%, then they're screwed. It's part of the floor, a very low floor.
I think he was a consistent shooter at Duke, right? It was Duke, or
I think so. Yeah.
And I don't think he's going to go anything below 39% from 3. It's just in his game. He's a great shooter. I think his perfect role, they asked a little bit too much of him last year. We all got excited.
Yeah.
And he, subsequently tore his ACL.
Yeah.
So I think his role is more 3-point shooter, spot up shooter, kind of what Eric Gordon used to be, a long time ago. He didn't see the floor, neither Kyle Lowry. Like, the bench drops precipitously after a couple players, right?
Yes.
And so I think McCain. I think McCain is huge for the second team off the bench to give Maxey and Edgecombe and even Embiid some rest. And I think that's his perfect role. And with PG, and what I think is actually going to happen. I think your floor is if, say, Maxey or Edgecombe goes out for any extended amount of time.
Yeah.
I think you're back in the lottery.
Yeah.
What I do think is going to happen, I think PG will eventually come back probably next month. I think they're going to struggle. I think Embiid's going to be up and down all year long. I don't know how much he's going to play. I'm sure we'll talk about that later. It definitely was weird tonight. It was like one of the first. It was like, this is not his team anymore.
Yeah,
like not even close.
Torch has definitely been passed.
Yeah, and
yep.
He better not have any issues with it, because it's over for you as a superstar. Those days are gone. But like,
right.
I think what's going to happen is they're going to be super exciting. I think the second team will round out, but I think there's going to be some huge struggles when they play some much better teams, especially bigger teams. I was just watching the Mavericks. They got like 3, 6, 10 or more plus guys on the floor together at the same time. I'm like, they're going to out rebound the shit out of us. Like,
yeah.
Like what are the Spurs going to do? Is Wemby and all their centers? No, I really think it's going to wind up being. I think they're going to wind. I think they're round up into shape as the season goes, and they're going to wind up being one of those play-in teams.
Yeah,
and nab a 7 or 8 seed, and it's going to be like, oh shit, I don't want to play this team. Like
right.
those two quick guards, and Embiid's been playing well. They got PG on defense. Like they have a good second unit, and they're only in the 7-8 seed because they kind of struggled through the season. And they're gonna wind up playing like the Cavs or the Knicks, and it's gonna be like, man, that's a really difficult matchup. But like,
yeah,
I think we're gonna sneak into the playoffs in that way, but then be one of those teams where everyone's scared to shit to play us because we're kind of have things figured out by then. So.
All right, very good. You know what? Before we get into our next part in this Sixers season preview, just take a quick break, and when we come back, we're actually going to be playing our Sixers over/under game, where we're going to be getting into Embiid, Maxey, and Paul George. Let's take a break right now, real quick. We'll be back in just a bit. All right, we're back, and we're going to continue with our Philadelphia 76ers season preview. Let's now get into the Sixers over/under game here. We're going to talk about Embiid. We're going to talk about Tyrese Maxey and Paul George. Let's start off with Embiid here, Eric. The number of games Joel Embiid is going to play, over/under 60.5.
Under.
I was going to say under as well.
Extremely under. Yes, if I had to put money on this, I would put a lot of money on the under. His days of playing 60 or more are like done. Like
yes.
If he plays 55 this year, great.
I was going to say 50. I was going to be like, if he plays 50 games, that's actually going to be pretty good. But I was seeing some stuff online about the over/under with his of how many games he was going to play. Yeah. And a lot of folks were like 60.5. And it's like,
that's
are
insane.
You kidding me?
That's crazy.
Like, are you kidding me? You know, and I know I'm like sitting here laughing, like we're laughing about it and stuff. Yeah. And part of me is sad about it because, you know, this was his team for so long. And frankly, he was the best athlete in Philadelphia for so many years and just was never able to get past the second round of the playoffs. But you know, like we said before the break, it is now obvious that the torch is being passed to this new generation of talent with VJ Edgecombe, what we saw in the first game of the season, and Tyrese Maxey continuing to grow, continuing to develop. You know, 60.5, that's not going to happen.
No, way under. And it's funny, I mean, he played tonight, but did he really play? I mean, it was underwhelming to say the least.
Yes.
And I know he's just getting back into it, and I laud him for actually coming out and playing. But it was kind of disheartening to see how he's lost like 30 pounds, right?
Yeah.
But he moves slower tonight than he's ever moved.
Moves like you on the court.
Yeah, I know. I think I text you guys. He moves like me when I play my son in one-on-one at this point. But it was kind of sad. And I did look at my son Vinny, and I was like, what could we get for him at this point? Like, it was like this team could have an identity here with these two guards. Yeah. And if PG could work his way into it, and it was like, and I wanted to say on the show, like, can we address the elephant in the room? And it's fitting because Embiid moved like an elephant tonight. But he is the elephant. He is the elephant now. It's like
in the room, yes.
If you
on the court,
if you want to be on the, like, you got to do something, either rebound or block shots or hit a jumper. You didn't do any of that tonight,
right?
So we'll see. But like, he is a square peg or whatever in a round hole right now. That team looked quick, fast, and that's what Nick Nurse went with in the second half. He's like, fuck rebounds, I'm just gonna go for points and speed, and it worked. But it worked against kind of a depleted Celtics team. But that's kind of like that's what jumped out to me. It was like, man, we seem to have a new identity, and Embiid's not part of it. So
under 60.5 games for sure,
easily. Yes.
All right, let's move on to Tyrese Maxey in our Sixers over/under game here. Points per game for Tyrese Maxey this season, 25.5. Over or under? Yes, scored 40 tonight. It's not going to happen every game, folks. It's just not going to happen every game. But over/under for 25.5. I'm actually going to be going optimistic and saying over. And it might be by a little bit. Might be by a little bit.
And I'm going to go under just slightly because now he's got to share the ball with Edgecombe, which is pretty obvious. And if
do you think Edgecombe's going to have some hiccups here and there as a rookie,
for sure,
you know?
Yeah. But Maxey could easily get over to 25 because another thing that jumped out was like, who's going to score points in this fucking team?
Yes.
If it's not those two, right?
Right. Yes.
But I'm thinking McCain and George come back and they take some shots off the table from Maxey and Edgecombe. Not too many, I hope, because those guys can obviously score. We saw it tonight.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go a slight under just because I think those guys are going to come back, take some shots away from him. But, I think he's still going to have a 24, 25, 6 assists, 2 rebound kind of season, which is like should get him close to the All-Star game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Finally, Paul George. Got to talk a little bit more about Paul George in terms of his points per game. Last year, he was at 16 and a half points per game. Does he do better or worse this season, Eric? Over or under 16 and a half points per game?
So
I'm going over.
Yeah, and he might average 20 points a game, but only playing 10 games. So I don't.
That is true. Yes.
Yeah, because you went with points per game here.
Yes.
No, I think one thing we do forget, like he actually played pretty well last year when he was actually playing.
Given what they expected him to do on the court.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he thought he was coming into a team with Embiid and Maxey, and he came in and like Embiid was immediately toast. It felt like.
Yep.
And it's not like and he gets no. Listen, I'm saying he played well, but he gets no excuses from me because he was such a douche.
Yeah.
During the season and the off season as well, with doing the podcast and bitching about Philly, and I was like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, they just give you an insane amount of money,
right?
And you weren't going to get it anywhere else, and to badmouth whatever. But like, it's a new season. I think the vibes of this team are way better than last year. Felt off last year.
Yeah.
I think Edgecombe brings a toughness and tenacity and like I'm here to fucking win kind of thing.
Yeah.
Maxey has it in him too. And that's going to be contagious to the younger guys, even if the guys I just mentioned are really young.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be one of those, like, I know you guys make a lot of money and you're the veterans, but like, you better get in line or you're going to get fucking left behind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and there's nothing we can do about trading them because their contracts are absurd. But I think PG's he's always been really good at becoming a part of something, like playing a role. You know what I mean? Like,
that's where I was going with the 3-point shot that I mentioned before the break when I was talking about, his career 3-point percentage is 38.3. And I think in the 2023-2024 season, he was at 41.3% from beyond the arc. And if he's able to stay within that 40% area of 3-point shooting, I mean, that's that role I think that you're talking about that he really needs to, hone in on for this team to be successful.
Yeah, because right now what your role will be, in my opinion, is you're going to be the best defender on the floor for the Sixers whenever you're out there. You're going to get your points when we need them, and you're going to run like the second team offense, basically.
Yep.
Or you keep Edgecombe in and take Max. I think that's George's role, and it should be. And when I said earlier, like he's always been really good at kind of fitting in. Like when he was with the Clippers, and he had like 2 really good seasons with the Clippers. When Kawhi was out, he stepped up and became like the leader of the team and scored a lot of points. When Kawhi was playing, he kind of like went back to I'm the second man in the team. And he's never really complained about that. He's never been like, I'm the guy.
Yeah.
So I think in that regard, if his health can just improve, I think he's actually kind of perfect for this team if he can play like he did just like 2 years ago.
All right. Very good. All right. Well, folks, if you are listening to the Philadelphia Sports Table podcast show for the first time, if you're listening to us on an audio podcast platform, subscribe. You're going to like what we're talking about on a weekly basis. If you're on YouTube, like and subscribe to us. Hit the bell to be notified when we post new videos, and we are on social media as well, of course. Search out the Philadelphia Sports Table. Eric and I are over at Blue Sky. You can search me out there, Jeff Warren. Search Eric out at Brick Pollitt. I'm over on TikTok at Mr. Jeff Warren. You can like our Facebook page. We're on Threads as well, Twitter/X, and We are also over on the Instagram. So that being said, we're going to take another break here. And when we get back, we're going to dive into Sixers regular season record, who we think the Sixers MVP is going to be. Then we're going to get into some Eastern Conference talk, Western Conference talk, and our predictions on who's going to be the NBA champions this year. Stick with us. All right, we are back. Jeff Warren here, Eric Leonard here, and we are going to continue with our Philadelphia 76ers season preview here. Let's get into what we think the Sixers regular season record is going to be. I think a lot of news outlets, a lot of the predictions, Eric, has said that this team is going to be between like a 42 win and 46 win team. I actually think this team is going to win 48 games this year. That's my thought. You know, I'm not going to go to the ceiling. I'm going to go 48 games this year. They're going to go 48 and 34. That is my thought this year.
Okay. I went
a little
lower
optimistic.
Yeah, I went a lot lower than that. The East is not very good. I'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some wiggle room here. I mean, people are all over the Hawks right now, like teams. And even I've seen people like saying the Hornets could be frisky. And I'm like, I don't know. Every year people are like, the Hawks look really good on paper. And then half their team goes down.
Right.
I mean, it came out today. They traded for Porzingis. It came out today that Porzingis had a disease, an illness last year.
Yeah. Where
he had to lay down or his heart would explode or something. Yeah. Like, I mean, I'm not making fun of it. But I read it. I'm like, that sounds dreadful. And
that's
like
awful. Yes.
And like, he may not even live long. And like, I was like, and he's your center? Like, I don't, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going to concentrate on the Sixers here. So I think
I'm going 48 games.
Yeah. I'm going to go right in the middle. Like I said, like high ceiling was a 5 seed, lottery floor. I'm going to go 41 and 41, a 500 record.
All right. Okay.
And they're one of the playing teams and they get like the 7 or 8 seed. I just can't see this team. I mean, they like Boston is without Tatum. They're not the same team. Right.
Right. Yeah.
And they made some moves. I mean, this is like an off year for Boston. They're kind of just waiting to next year to compete again. So,
right.
And we struggled, we barely beat them on their home court. And, that coaches the shit out of them and they still only won by 1 point. But I'm not taking anything away from it. I'm just saying, like, when they go through their first West Coast trip and they got to play Denver, OKC, all the teams in Texas, like the Houston team, like Amen Thompson is going to lock up Maxey or Edgecombe. like we saw them play like kind of a very mediocre to below mediocre team tonight. So I think when they start playing the real teams, I'm just thinking it's going to be an exact 41 and 41. I think their over under win total was like 42.5 on Duel. I think that's a pretty good number, actually. I don't know how Vegas does that shit, but like I looked at it, I'm like, I'm not touching that because I don't know. Like,
right.
But if everything goes right after watching those two guys tonight, it's like 48's not crazy.
If Dominic Barlow and Jabari Walker get in there, who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, I know. I mean, by the way, can I do 2 more over-unders real quick?
Yes, please.
Over-under on time, how many times this year I'm going to say, fuck this Grimes guy. You didn't $25 million. I'm going to set it at 40.
Wait, you mean Quentin Grimes isn't worth that?
No. And tonight he wasn't even worth the $8 million they gave him. I was so pissed off. He had an awful turnover in the fourth quarter, threw it to nobody on a drive.
Yes.
And missed the one free throw when the game was close near the he's already one of those guys.
You're already enraged. Yes.
Already enraged. He's the classic bad team, good stats guy. Uh-huh. He's on his 4th team in 5 years. He's 25 years old. What does that tell you? Like nobody wants him.
Right.
I don't want him.
All right. We've got our regular season record there. Who do we think is going to be the Philadelphia 76ers MVP this season? I'll let you go first on this one. What are you thinking?
It's got to be the same person, Maxey. It's like not even close. He's the best player. He's the face of the team.
Yep.
I just watched the 2K26 commercial.
Ooh.
No Embiid.
No.
It was Maxey and Halliburton.
Yes.
were in it. And I was like, well, there you go. It's
Yep.
over. Like,
Yep.
yeah.
All right. That was easy. That
Yes.
was easy, Maxey. All right. Well, let's get into some predictions in terms of who's going to be going to the Eastern Conference Finals, who's going to be going to the Western Conference Finals, and who we think is going to end up being the NBA champions. Well, we should actually put in there who's going to be going to the NBA Finals. So let's start off with the Eastern Conference Finals. My prediction, and, you know, we know how these predictions usually turn out, you know, probably not really going to go anywhere, but
Nope.
I am thinking that we are going to see a Cavs and Magic Eastern Conference Finals.
Oh, okay.
That is my prediction. Cavs and Magic here.
Okay.
What are you thinking?
I mean, I like what the Magic did. I
Yeah.
thought the Desmond Bane train was really really smart.
Mm-hmm.
And if Jalen Suggs can stay healthy, you know, defensively, they're just a monster team. It's going to be hard to score on. But again, who's going to score fucking points in that team? Like, if they stay healthy and Desmond Bane puts a spark in their offense, they're going to be something to reckon with this year.
Desmond Bane, I mean, he gives Orlando exactly what it has lacked now for so long, and that's just elite shooting, you know? And I think that is going to really put them over the edge at the end of the day. So I'm going Cavs Magic, actually. So what are your thoughts here on the Eastern Conference Finals?
Sixers? No, I don't think so. I will say, you know, I think the two worst teams, I'll just say it now after watching, I have the league pass, so I was all over the place. Yeah. But mainly watching the Sixers. The Brooklyn Nets are dreadful. Like, oh my God. They don't have a single player. There's no identity at all. Michael Porter Jr. is their best player, which is sad.
Oh gosh.
And they drafted all these kids that all need the ball to score, and there's no point guard. That team is going to be, they might win 13 games.
Oh my
year.
God.
They're
yeah.
awful. And the Wizards were down by 20 points at halftime in their first game. And I'm like, their season's already over. Like, that's such a pathetic feeling as a fan. Like, what, we're done already? Yeah. One game, we're cooked. Like, it sucks. There's no future for us. Yes. Like, but I honestly think the Eastern Conference final matchup is going to be a replay of tonight's game on ESPN was Cavs Knicks.
Cavs Knicks. Okay.
Yeah. I think the Knicks beat the Cavs, but man, I think Evan Mobley looks even bigger, faster, stronger. That last game, it was them taking the next step, was him taking the next step, and he definitely looks like he might have. And they made that trade for DeAndre Hunter last year. I love the Cavs roster, and I think that I'm hoping that's the series, because that'll be an awesome series.
That'd be a fantastic
big, nasty,
series.
physical.
Yep.
Yeah. Good teams.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Very good. What about the Western Conference Finals matchup here? I'll let you go first here. Who do you think what two teams do you think is going to be there?
I think the best state of basketball right now is Texas. I think all three teams are going to be just beasts to play with or play against. But I think they're all going to kind of cancel each other out. So
okay.
I honestly think I wanted to go Minnesota here again, because they've made the last two in a row. Anthony Edwards is probably going to take that next step.
I'm not going Minnesota. I'm actually not.
Neither am I.
Okay.
No, I was sitting there thinking, like, just take Minnesota again, because like they did the last 2 years. No, I think it's going to be OKC and Denver.
Oh, that's mine. That's mine. Yes.
I think think it's a pretty easy one. I think this is the best bench Denver's ever had.
Yep.
Best roster they ever put around Jokic. They did it, or Jokic. Jokic, how you say it. Or Jokic. Or
Jokic. That's what I would say. What a freaking idiot I am.
But like this is, they won the championship. I think this roster is actually better, and especially for what he does. And when Jalen Williams comes back for OKC, they beat Houston, a really tough Houston team at home, double overtime, and just looked so poised. And like we got our title. Yeah, we're just going to keep winning. Like, not taking the year off. They played really hard last night. Chet looked good. Shea had like 34 points and just locked the game down at the end, the second overtime. Yeah. I don't think there's any way OKC is not at least in the Western Conference Finals. I think Denver is going to be their opponent.
I agree. And I think at the end of the day, because of the bench you're talking about, Denver's exceptional bench, they're going to the finals. And I think the finals is going to be Cavs, Denver. It's going to be Nuggets, Cavs. That's my thought. What's your finals thought?
And I know people's first reaction is going to be like, ugh.
Yeah, exactly.
Denver, Cleveland. To me, if you're a basketball fan, that's an awesome fucking series. Because
it would be great.
Jokic is the best player in the league, probably.
Yes.
But Evan Mobley, who's probably the best big man defender in the league. Then you got, you got Jamal Murray up against Donovan Mitchell. There's so many good matchups, so much to watch. But I think it's going to be the opposite. I think OKC is going to play the Knicks.
Okay.
And that's your finals.
Okay.
I think the Knicks have a much. I know. And I think the vibes of that team are much, much better. That coach they had, Tibbs, is just renowned for like riding his players and playing his starters 42 minutes.
Yeah.
And getting his team to a certain point, but only so far.
Okay.
And they just bristle after a while. It's like, oh my God, I can't play for this guy. We need that coach who can get us to the next step. And I think Mike Brown was like a perfect hire. It sounds like a retread when it happened and when it came up on ESPN, but I was like, you know what? That's actually a perfect team for him.
Yeah. They're
super mature. He's a player's coach, but he's also tough. He's going to bring in a much more like fluid offense than Tibbs. Tibbs, it was kind of a rock fight sometimes last year.
Yeah.
And I just think he's the perfect. I think they have a great roster. Those sons of bitches got Yabusele. Could use him tonight. To get a couple of boards.
They really could have used him. Yes.
That was I flipped over to the Knicks Cavs game and Sixers halftime. I'm like, oh yeah, we could have a 6'8" Yabusele out there getting some boards, but nope. We signed Quentin Grimes instead. Yeah, great.
All right. Well, okay. So Knicks and OKC for you, and I'm at the complete opposite. I'll let you know mine. Who wins the championship in your scenario?
I wouldn't be surprised if your scenario happened, by the way. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I think OKC just repeats.
You do? Okay.
I just think.
And I'm thinking the Nuggets. In my scenario, Cavs, Nuggets, I think the Nuggets win. And I think the champion is going to be in the Western Conference.
Yeah, I think so. It's going to be a Western Conference team. And it's going to break Dave's heart, the Knicks go all the way.
Our buddy Dave. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, a lot of legacy stuff will occur too now. If OKC wins a back-to-back title, then you're going to start talking about like, well, shit, we got a Golden State Warriors situation going on here.
Yeah.
And they have a treasure trove of picks and can make trades. They're just going to get better. It's bonkers. But if say Denver wins, then you got to start having this conversation like, okay, well, is Jokic top 10 player of all time, top 12?
We love those conversations.
I'm just saying, like, you got to start to have that conversation. It's like, the guy's a 3-time MVP, 2 rings. Name how many players have done that one. Like, it's a short list, I'm sure.
Very short. Yep.
And that team is kind of set up to maybe do it again. Maybe it gets a third. Then you got to be like, oh, do you put him above Kobe? Do you put him above Tim Duncan? Like, you start to get into that. So a lot of cool narratives actually, if either one of those scenarios, actually happen. So
it's going to be a fun NBA season, man. And seriously, after tonight's first game of the season, the Sixers' first game of the season, I should say, I feel this energy that I did not feel a month ago or even during the preseason. There is an energy. And yes, Maxey's not going to score 40 points every night. DJ Edgecombe is not going to score 34 points every night. But it's going to be fun watching this team develop into whatever it is that they develop into. If they don't, if there aren't a plethora of injuries, so I can't wait for this NBA season, the Sixers season. It's going to be fun, man.
Well, you know me, I'm NBA dork. I mean, I had league pass. I was all over the place. I'm like, let me check out Pelicans, Grizzlies real quick. I mean, like, who cares, right? Me,
I gotta see what the Wizards are doing.
I put that on for a second. I'm like, this is ridiculous. What I don't like is like, now they're off for 2 days and they play Saturday night. It's like, I gotta wait, basically 3 days. God damn it, man! Because Edgecombe got me so excited. I was like, oh man, they're starting the rookie. I hope he does okay. Man, I'd be happy with like 14 points,
And then he just
boards.
murdered.
He got more than double that. And I'm like, now I need my injection of Edgecombe, and I got to wait till Saturday night, which is gonna be a fun ass game. They're playing the Hornets.
Yeah.
Who are actually, I don't know if they're good, but I think they're probably going to be a really exciting team up and down the floor if LaMelo stays healthy. So I'm pumped. And this is you're going to like this.
What?
Vinny saw a commercial for Flyer Senators tomorrow night.
Ooh.
And he was like, can we watch that? I'm like, yeah, we can. We're going to watch it. Yes.
All right. Getting into some Flyers hockey here, folks. Oh, we may be bringing Eric on. We're talking Flyers. Whoa.
Bring me on that interview. The one later.
Yes.
Yeah.
You, Dan, and myself, we can really talk about what's happening with the goaltending and what's happening with the defenders on this team.
Is it still Bernie Perrant back there?
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Rest in peace, Bernie, by the way.
R.I.P. Yes.
Met him twice. Met him twice at Flyers games.
That's
very
awesome.
Super sweet man. Yeah.
Yes.
You were there the one time.
Yes, I was.
Party. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, buddy. I'm going to let you go. We're going to take a break, folks. And then when we get back, we got some Flyers talk with our friend Dan Esche from brotherlypuck.com. It's always great talking to Dan. Let's take that break now. We'll be back in just a bit. All right, we are back, folks, and joining us from brotherlypuck.com. Love that website. Not only does our good friend Dan dive into the Philadelphia Flyers, but also the Lehigh Valley Phantoms and what happens in the AHL as well. Again, our good friend Dan Esche. My friend, thank you so much for jumping on to getting some Flyers talk with us here.
Yeah, always love to come on and talk some Flyers. What, third or fourth time on the show?
Absolutely.
Yes. Always enjoy it.
Love having you on. It's been a really interesting start to this Flyers season here. It really has been because, we all didn't necessarily know what to expect. And we're certainly going to get into some various themes of this Flyers team that we've been seeing. But I think for me, I'm looking at what's happening on the ice. It's not a disaster. It's not the greatest thing we've ever seen either. They're currently 3-2 in the Metropolitan Division here. So far, I think so good. So far, so good here. How would you describe how the season has started for this team as we're in the early stages here, Dan?
Yeah, I think so far so good is a safe way to put that.
Right.
Particularly from what we saw in the preseason. Those were some bowling shoe ugly games earlier there. And it's like, oh man, are we in for a complete stinker of a year here? But it hasn't been too bad, all things considered. They still some things they can work on, but some overall, compared to what we were expecting this season to be, the first 5-6 games, whatever we're at now, has been pretty decent.
It really has. What has been surprising for you so far? Do you think?
Quite frankly, the defense and the goaltending haven't faltered to the level that we thought they were going to. Again, that preseason was not great. And, we knew Urson was questionable. We didn't know what we were going to get into with Vladar. The defense was largely untouched with the exception of Juleson, who wasn't exactly a trophy capture here. So it's like, oh, man, how bad are things going to get? Are they going to allow 8 goals every night or something like that? But it hasn't been that bad. Largely speaking, things have been good.
We are going to get into the goaltending. We're certainly going to get into some blue line talk as well in terms of the defensive pairing. But, the one thing I really wanted to see out of the gate, Dan, as we're moving along here, and I want to get your thoughts on what the power play has looked like so far, and really, I guess, what our expectations should be of the power play. Look, we know for years and years and years, this has been one aspect of the team that has certainly been a challenge. Yeah. And I swear, I'm sitting on my couch and I just look and I'm like, all right, they got a power play. And I get this little bit of excitement just for a split second until I'm like, okay, I'm going to be brought back down to reality about what this power play is. But we have seen some good stuff from Trevor Zegras on the power play. And as of us recording this, yes, this team is 3 of 19, I believe, on the power play. But I do wonder if there is any optimism that the power play can have this season in terms of its growth here. What are your thoughts?
They certainly look better. They look more lively than they have in the last few years. And, getting rid of Rocky Thompson helps, adding Zegras helps. But the power play is still largely the skill-based position, which they're lacking still. You don't have a proper quarterback. There's nobody on the blue line that can really fire it. They have Emil Andre, but they won't give him an opportunity. So, it helps. You're seeing some life, but without that kind of consistent, solid offensive presence, that electric presence, that Claude Giroux-esque player, you're still going to struggle, right? So it may be improved. By the end of the year, this may be the best power play they've had in 5-6 years, which quite frankly isn't saying much based on the fact that they've been dead last for 3 of the 4 or whatever.
Can't fall out of a basement window, right?
Yeah, exactly. But overall, they are showing signs of life, which I feel like is one of the bare minimum things you could ask from them this year.
And I think it's great to see Trevor Zegras and what he's been able to do so far. I mean, I think that he was one of the exciting bright spots coming into this season in terms of his play, what he was going to be able to do from an offensive standpoint as well. I really hadn't thought about asking you about him, but what have your thoughts been on Trevor Zegras in general, aside from the power play at this point?
He looks good, It's great when you have young electric players on your roster, believe it or not. But there was obviously some skepticism with him. He was marred in like 2 years of injury-plagued bad play with the Ducks there. And when you're coming in, the reason they got him so cheap is because he hasn't done anything the last few years, right?
Right.
So when you're bringing him into this new team, obviously he's friends with Drysdale and York and Brink. They all have this history together. So playing with your friends, playing with a team where you're getting opportunities, working on a line. He's been with Christian Dvorak thus far and has been largely fine. So overall, it's a breath of fresh air. And I wish we saw that more often with this team.
Absolutely. But, we're going to get into Rick Tocchet. We're going to get into him as we conclude things, but we're going to put that on pause because I think he has brought that breath of fresh air as well in terms of his leadership. Again, we're going to get to that, after our break. But, you talked about the goaltending and you mentioned it. And I really want to dive into that a little bit more because initially we thought this was going to be a huge, huge challenge for this team coming into this season. Many of us, hesitant on, okay, is Sam Ersson really going to be the guy that's going to be the main goalie here in front of the net? And we kind of know who he is at this point. Dan Vladar, we weren't sure what we were going to see from him, but it seems and appears as though Dan Vladar is going to be the favorite, perhaps moving forward at this point, just given where they are at this early point in the season. What are your thoughts on Vladar and Ersson early this season here, Dan? And should we be hanging our hats on Dan Vladar at this point?
He certainly looked better than I think anybody expected him to.
Yeah.
That's for sure. The biggest problem with Vladar is still the longevity. He's never played more than 30 games, which, people have kind of did, they're downplaying that. And I guess it doesn't matter right now, but even if they have a 50-50 split with Ersson, that's still 11 more games than he's ever played before.
Right.
And you look at someone like Sam Ersson, who we've learned has a limited amount of gas in his tank.
Yes.
And when that runs out, it's bad. It's ugly after that. So it's like, can Vladar step up into that starting role and play 40, maybe even 50 games if Ersson falls that far out of favor? But, 50-50 split, he's looking good. He's not young. It was a 28-29 in his 6th season in the NHL and just has not played that much ice time there. And, he's largely... last year in Calgary, he was taking the bullet for Dustin Wolf. Anything they didn't want him to face, they threw Vladar in there. So, a bounce back season is not necessarily unexpected, but can he step into the role of a starter over the course of a full season is still where I sit here. And it may not be a topic today or tomorrow, but 2-3 months from now, that could be a question we're asking if he, can't hang in that kind of role. So hopefully Ersson, if you use Ersson sparingly, maybe he can hang on a little longer into the season and you can have a legit tandem here.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask too, because with Sam Ersson, I mean, we know how many games he's able to play. And then when things just start hitting the fan, it just goes crazy with him. And I think a limited amount of starts for him could bode well for this team and even for Sam Ersson's career overall. Like, I think he may have developed as much as he's going to develop. I mean, I think we're really at that ceiling right now for him. And I don't even know if we're on the downward trajectory of that ceiling, but I just don't think Sam Ersson is necessarily the guy that's going to be leading this team well into the future as we're continuing to think about this rebuild and think about where the team is going to be at even a year from now. I'm not sure if Sam Ersson's really going to be a part of that.
Yeah. Last few years were just so brutal for the guy.
They were brutal.
And unfortunately, he didn't get that chance to kind of work in, when the other guy left the team under the circumstances that he did. Ersson got thrown directly into the deep end and, just got shelled more often than not. And when he was best was when he was the backup and he was playing once a week, and you can work him in, and they just didn't get that opportunity this time. And is it too late? Yeah, maybe. He certainly doesn't have the confidence of full-time starter anymore that he could. Maybe he could be a solid 1B. As the season goes on here, which would be great if you can have two goaltenders that can play at a decent pace and give a start to whenever you need them. But the confidence as far as Urson's ability to hold down the fort as a career starter, no longer looking like they once did 2, 3, 4 years ago.
Absolutely. Again, folks, we are talking to Dan Esche from brotherlypuck.com. You got lots of great stuff over there, Dan. Tell everybody where they can find you on the socials out there if they want to connect with you.
Yeah, at Dan the Flyer fan on Twitter. Today's actually my 11-year anniversary as Dan the Flyer fan. Yeah.
Nice. Very nice. Dude, we're in our 12th year, man. You've been doing it 11. You're right in that area with us here. Holy cow. It's a journey here in the world of creating content in the world of Philly sports for sure.
Yeah, saw a whole lot more bad than good hockey over the years, but we're still doing it. So
absolutely. And aside from brotherlypuck.com, are you still doing the podcast as well?
Yeah. Over on Brotherly Pod. Yep.
Yeah, Brotherly Pod, folks. If you want to get some great Flyers content there to listen into your ear holes, you're going to want Brotherly Pod. So we're going to take a quick break, folks. When we get back, we're going to be diving into Rick Tocchet. We're going to be diving into the defense as well on this Flyers team. Stick with us. All right, we are back with our good friend Dan Esche from brotherlypuck.com, Brotherly Pod as well. You can listen on Apple Podcasts and all major podcasting platforms as well. Let's dive into this defense here, Dan. The Flyers have really been, over these past few games, really leaning on Travis Sanheim a lot, just in terms of defensive productivity, in terms of the minutes. We know the defensive pairings are a weakness, and we kind of figured that coming into this season. They have been a bit of a surprise here and there, as you mentioned early on. What should we really be making of the Flyers defense right out of the gate here? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, they've been surprisingly good, at least statistically. How they're getting there is not always pretty.
Right.
But, they haven't been terrible. Again, dating back to the preseason here, when you were seeing how bad they were playing, it's like, oh, man, losing Bradshaw sucks. That guy was the mastermind of that team. Ristolainen's out until December.
Yep.
So, you're down two key pieces, which, by the way, tell someone 5 years ago that Rasmus Ristolainen would be the pillar of this defense that everybody would miss when he's hurt.
Exactly.
I wouldn't believe you.
But, people were calling for his trade like 2 years ago,
know? Yeah. It's been years that he was the kind of public enemy number one that everyone just kind of dumped on, but developed into a really steady hand under Bradshaw and Tortorella there. And, they don't have a lot of choices. Your AHL team isn't stacked right now. I mean, obviously, Melandre is the one in conversation. Oliver Bonk's still kind of MIA with his injury stemming back to the preseason, but you don't have a lot of serious options to move back and forth with the exception of Andre. And, they didn't add anybody during the summer with the exception of Juleson, who has just been a dude thus far. So you kind of knew that their ceiling was limited. But Sanheim has looked great. Can he keep this up consistently through the whole season? He's never really been able to, but if he can play like he's been doing, over the last 5-6 games, whatever we are to start the season here, they may be able to hold themselves together until Risto comes back. And hopefully by then, trade deadline starts rolling around. Maybe they find some help if they're in playoff position, and if not, sell off and try again next year. But overall, again, what we were seeing in the preseason, what they look like on paper, so far so good for something that I wasn't expecting to be good at all this year.
Exactly. Look, with the first pair playing as much as they are, one might actually think that the second pairing is getting like shafted here at this point, but they really aren't. As of us recording this, I believe Jamie Drysdale is on the ice for 22 minutes and 53 seconds at this point. Nick Seeler at about 21 minutes and 1 second. I think it's a testament to how much Rick Tocchet is really relying just on the top four in general. And I think it goes to what you're saying about Rasmus Ristolainen, and they're just waiting for him to come back at this point. Rely on the top four and see where things shake out.
Yeah, you don't have much of a choice. You don't. Adam Ginning, Juleson, they're just
Juleson.
Dudes. They're
yes,
just a bunch of dudes down there that probably have no business being on NHL rosters, but
probably,
what are you going to do?
We're being kind saying it that way. Absolutely. Well, my friend, to close us out, and I really appreciate you taking the time to jump on this week. It's been reported that Rick Tocchet, he's been highly involved with his players during practice as they are really kind of trying to get used to this new culture within Philly, and just as a new era is now here. And like I said earlier, it's nice to see some of these things coming together. So I would really, I don't hesitate to say, I think Rick Tocchet has a lot to do with the fact that this team looks pretty energized right out of the gate, and things again are not crashing and falling to the floor. What have you seen from Rick Tocchet so far this season that may bode well for where this Flyers team can really grow under his leadership?
Yeah, I mean, the new coach bump is a real thing. This is just what happens with most teams when they get a coach, is you get that kind of influx of life, and everyone's happy again, and they're not all pissed off at each other.
Yes.
And, especially when you're going from Tortorella, and I think the biggest thing Tocchet brings to the table is just a personality.
Yes.
That he seems like a likable human being,
right?
Like, as fans, when we listen to Tortorella, and he's stifling, and you can feel the tension through the television screen when his post-game interview. And it's like, imagine being in a room with that kind of energy for 3 years.
Right.
Like the guy clearly knew what he was doing. He's been in the league forever, has Stanley Cups. He's a decent coach. I just think at this point that curmudgeony old man thing wears thin. This generation of players, I just don't think can respond to that for long periods of time. So having someone like Tocchet, who's a player's coach, and he was a player back in the day, and he was a Flyer, and he knows what it takes, and all the rah-rah that we've gotten here, there is something to that. Systematically, is he much different than Tortorella? TBD. We got to wait and see whether or not, the ultimate change is going to happen here. But that personality, the ability to talk, he sits down to the media and he seems like a normal human being that can have conversations. And it's like, that is such a breath of fresh air. And it has to be a breath of fresh air for the players too.
Yeah.
You can communicate better and you can talk. And there's been all the videos during the practices and whatnot that he's out there communicating, and they're exchanging texts and want to work on things. And it's like, that is such a different pace than what we were dealing with the last handful of years with Tortorella here. So
it creates a different culture at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, he's Dan Esche, folks. Again, brotherlypuck.com. Great content over there. Dan, my friend, it was great having you on the show. Thank you so much for taking the time. Let's have you back on the show at some point down the road. I'd love to talk more Flyers with you.
Sure, absolutely. Maybe they'll be this good in 6 months from now. Who knows?
Don't tease me now, buddy. Don't tease me now. Really, it's going to be a fun season. Come back and join us.
Sure, anytime you need me, I'll be back.